This is In the Field with your host, Oliver Field, your local talentless hack. Today I'm going to have an intervention for my cameraman, George. He has a problem. He buys anime figurines. It's a waste of his hard-earned cash, and it reflects poorly on his moral character. To back me up, before I just yap all by myself, I have two fine, shining examples of the community members here at Edgewood, Junior and Caisson. What are your two gentlemen's opinions on him buying anime figurines with his cold hard cash?
I personally think it's a waste of money. I think you could be spending it on something else, like perhaps setting up a college fund or something, or just saving it up in general, gathering interest. I don't think it's a very wise choice to work on short-term desires and pleasures.
I think it makes him a very unwise individual, but at the end of the day, it is his hard-earned money, and he can do what he pleases with it.
So we have two somewhat contradicting opinions here. Now let's see if we can solve it in this episode of In the Field. All right. Thank you, gents. So let's start off. I'm going to be kink-shaming George. I'm not fully sure what that means, but, I'm going to be doing it because it's my kink. I know, right? Thank you! Shill me! Anyway, George, is it all right if we go that way and then around? Because I feel like most people know me in this direction. So let's go this way. All right. We successfully just avoided the assistant principal with that technique. All right. Anime women are not real. When you spend money on it, you're wasting your money. We already know this, but we still do it anyway. Why? I'm not saying we, I mean George. George knows this, but he does it anyway. Why? Because the anime girl, it fills a need in his life that he lacks. You see, I'd like to tell a story about my good friend George, who is currently holding this microphone's cable and the camera. You see, George and I met up on my trip to Japan last spring break. And he had bought so many, just anime figurines and merchandise and all this stuff, that they had to buy another carry-on for the way back. I never got my carry-on. I never got anything for all the stuff I bought. I always had to buy the little gachapon figurines. No big figurines for me. And ever since then, I've been jealous of all the things he's had up on his room, little stands, little Hatsune Miku figures or pins or shirts or whatever the heck. Yo, gentlemen, anime sucks, am I right? I think that man agrees with me. Just a pervert. That guy's pretty chill, though. Anyway, what amazed me the most about him buying these figures was not just that they had to buy a suitcase with him. It's because they were obviously of a not explicit, but suggestive nature. You bought them because you wanted to see your favorite anime girls in suggestive positions, which is very strange for the people listening in on me. I feel very sorry for myself, but not that sorry. As I was saying, that's the whole point, right? It's not really about having the anime figure or having a physical piece of the media. There's far cheaper ways to do that. Especially in Japan, they have these little gachapon machines. They're like little capsule figures, and they're great. And I bought a ton of those because they're only $2 for each, I think. It's really cheap, and if I really like a series, I can have a physical piece of it in my home. But no, they spend ridiculous money on these figures, and that is because they're suggestive. All right? It's purely because they're suggestive. I don't want to go inside Mr. Clark's. I don't want to go inside Mr. Clark's. I was fine with Mr. Cook's, not Mr. Clark's. Man. All right. All right. I'm not going to say where we're going next. It's a surprise. It's a secret. Woo. Anyway. What I'm basically boiling down to, it's because you're horny, George. And I don't blame you for that. I really don't blame you for that. I'm quite horny myself. But these urges, right, cannot be fed into. They're very fucked up. They're extremely, extremely horrible for you to feed into. And even though it provides an escape, even though it's an escapism, you always got to be careful with what you escape to. You always got to be careful with the content you consume. And consuming this content... No! We're just filming in the field with Oliver Field, and he wouldn't let us in.
You guys move out of the way so you can let me in.
Bummer.
We're going to try and sneak in now. All right. You got to be careful with what you consume. If you put bad things in, you get bad things out. If you consume slop, you get slop out. And George, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
Foot in the door, literally.
I'm not saying that these figures. I'm not saying that the anime these figures are from are slop. You know, some of this stuff is very, very good, such as Chainsaw Man. I highly recommend that. Or the one figure I got there, which wasn't really a figure, it was $3. It was from one of the little capsule machines. Is from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is a beautiful, beautiful work, and has really changed how I thought about the world and how I think about life, which I'll probably get into in a different podcast episode. And we're definitely going to have to go that way, George.
Okay.
But I feel you're buying these figures because you're horny, as I previously established. And that is just a sloppy feeling. It's slop. And slop is the death of the individual. I think we all know somebody who scrolls on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts just a little too long. And they're kind of almost soulless because of that. Buying these figures is another soulless activity. You're consuming and wasting your money on slop. It's a shame, because a lot of these franchises, as I mentioned, are great and are actually beautiful pieces of art, but just mindlessly consuming them and spending your money on these pieces of merchandise is just wrong. It reflects poorly upon yourself, and it's just ultimately a bad habit. I'm not saying that George is a bad person for doing this. I'm saying that George has had some moments of weaknesses, and that ultimately he needs to stop shaking the camera for some reason. He's going like this. Nodding? What? And he needs to stop buying the figures. And also, he needs to have the he needs to have his parents explain to me if they've ever seen these figures, like what went through their head for them to go, all right, George, you can buy it and bring it home. Anyway, this has been In the Field. My legs hurt. With Oliver Field. Thanks for watching.